In this video, I'm going to make this model. It's a commercial jet, and Steve Good pattern. He titled it Comjet. It's kind of a neat little pattern. I like the way it turned out, so stay tuned. We'll look at the pattern and the material. There's not a lot of different material in it, and it's not a real complex project. It's several pieces, but they're not real hard to cut. There's not a lot of internal cuts. So we'll go to look at the pattern and the materials, and we'll start cutting it out. It's the pattern for this little model. I'm going to go about this in a little different procedure. What we have is 5 layers, and 2 of them look like this, and 2 of them look like this, and then the center one is that big piece there. So the external lines on the other 4, these 4, 2 of those and 2 of the other, are identical. So I've stacked 4 pieces. Now I'm going to cut all 4 outlines of those at the same time. And I'm going to split it into 2 and 2. I'll leave this pattern there for the top 2. And I'll mount this on the bottom 2 to cut the internal parts. And then this one I'm going to cut separately, and along with these other pieces that go along with the plane, engine parts and wheels. And then the wings and the stars, I've got, this is supposed to be 1/8 inch. I think that's slightly larger than 1/8 inch, but make it work. So anyway, I'm going to see how this works, because I like to cut these all as identical as I can, and that's the purpose for doing this. I usually stack cut 1 or 2 of them, 2 or so, in these layered cars, or layered models that Steve Good has. This is Steve Good pattern. But still, I have to do a little sanding sometimes, even take a chisel to some spots, and I'm going to try to minimize that as much as possible. And this way, 4 of the 5 will be cut at the same time, will be supremely identical. And then the other one I may cut slightly on the outside of the line of it, depending on how it comes out, to give myself a little room to sand down to match. I'd rather it be a little large than a little small, so I'm going to have to sand that one piece. But I want it just very lightly larger. So anyway, that's my goal as I'm proceeding with this. It may not work. I'm using poplar, it's very cheap wood, and I got plenty more to do it if I mess it up. So let me move it over the scroll saw and cut those, and then I'll remount some patterns and drill some holes and cut the internal parts. Well, I hope I was able to demonstrate there how I lined those up. I cut that pattern very carefully with some scissors. I put the tape on there, flipped it over, and cut around the outside with the X-Acto knife to get that even, and then applied the pattern and clamped it, lined it up and clamped it, and used that as a stand to tape it. I did that to both of these, and then I drilled the holes. So now I'm going to cut the internal out on both of these, and we'll have the 4 of the 5 biggest parts cut out. I've got a piece of scrap off the actual board that the rear wing is cut out of. And I believe it's slightly larger than the 1/8 inch. It looks like it is. So I'm going to give it a little extra room on the bottom, and then once I get this free of the rest of the board and get it all the way cut out, I can check this and kind of grind it out a little bit if I need to make it fit. Fits almost perfectly. You may have noticed I cut around this piece. I wanted to cut the outer end of this. That's a potential weak spot. The grain's running this way, but that was a potential weak spot. I wanted to cut the outer end of it while it still had support back here. That way it wouldn't be put any stress on it with it already cut out here. There it is, all cut out. The little stars, the 2 wings, there's the parts of the engine, some wheels going to the wing, and the body. So it turned out looking like it's going to match up really well. Maybe a little fine tuning with some sanding to get it smooth as I want it. But I'm going to start putting it together just like I do all the other layered ones. I'm going to start with the center and work out, and we'll see how that works out. There's the finished model. It's there's no, it's made out of poplar. I probably should have painted it. It would have looked better. But I'm not great at painting. I'm not crazy about it. Don't do a real good job at it. So I decided not to paint this one this time. I'm somewhat pleased with it. It didn't work as well as I thought it would, but it worked okay. I still had to do some sanding and smoothing to get everything lined up just right, but I think that's probably inevitable on some of these. But anyway, I hope you like that. And if you do, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And there's going to be more models. This is just one of many in a series, and I'm going to continue to put some out. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.